So, I guess Amazon did send some stuff this week, but it's going to arrive Thursday, so we're just going to go with this and this. I mean, maybe this one is important. This is the Pokemon Sword and Shield double pack. You can see, based on the size, it's got some downloads and 2 games. So to kind of give y'all an idea of what's in it, yeah, just basically Pokemon Sword and Shield. Nice and simple. So this is a Kickstarter package. So there might be a lot of little things in this. See, I think I'm actually going to open it this way. Try not to show the address. Because I don't know. I guess I could open it that way, which I just did. Okay. Then let's see if I can pull some stuff out. There we go. And this. And I'm not feeling anything else in the box. Okay, cool. So, let's see, as you can see, it's Gunsmith cats. That is not needed. These are cards. Gunsmith cats being a, when was it popular? I think a pretty generally well received. This is the explosive edition. How well do I remember what happened? I don't know if I remember. Well, it probably means it's worth a rewatch, but you know, at the rate I've been rewatching stuff, it's probably not going to ever happen. There we go. Got some stubborn plastic. Now, I didn't see anything here. Oh yeah, that there actually says ABC. So it's maybe not region free, but all regions. So there's a lot of neat things in there. I see a lot of design notes and stuff like that. Let's move that aside. Go here. It's listing extras. That's a lot of stuff spread out all over the place. Poking around on the inside. I think we've got 2 stickers. Neat. I hope I was supposed to get 2 stickers and somebody else isn't losing one. We've got a pretty good poster board. Or poster, sorry. It's got front and back. The back looks like the name, so somewhere in here is probably my name, maybe. I don't remember what I paid for. So it could be, or it might not be. We've got a background, and you know, a good old disc. I guess it says Gunsmith cat there, so if you wanted, you could probably reverse the cover. This one. Ooh, a little mini comic of some sort. Sounds familiar. And then this is contents. Well, I would assume this would be the rest of the thing, like patch or coin or some combination of stuff. So let's see. I think I'm okay with tossing that. those are some mighty impressive patches. Like, I kind of very vaguely keep track of what they work on, but I didn't think the patches were that big. That's pretty cool. These little keychain versions of our main two characters, which is also cool. And then this. Okay, yeah, that can come out because it's in its own thing. This is a pretty painted coin. It has a little heftiness to it. If I were to compare it, I think it's still heavier than these things combined, so, you know, it's made out of some real metal, some sort. But, yeah, so let's put those aside and say, hold on. Because I was just thinking that these might be able to fit in there. And we have enough time to at least explore it. I guess the real problem is that lip up there. I'm not going to try and break it. So I know it's not much, but, you know, this week's anime DVD collection update. So it's been a tiring past week. I watched Ace Attorney Season 2 Part 2. And I did double check, and yeah, my memory was kind of correct in terms of first game, second game, third game, and this covering contents, Season 2 covering contents of third game. I don't know if first and second game were the first season. They could be. I'd have to look at the trials specifically. But this one, you know, covered third game, and I kind of remember, you know, the conclusion in particular for the third game being particularly crazy. And it's interesting because there were some things that I kind of knew in advance in watching it and wasn't entirely... Hold on, what am I thinking? Sorry. Zoning out a little bit. Basically, I think it's very enjoyable, but it's really hard for me to tell how impactful the anime version is compared to the game. And I didn't actually play the game. I watched somebody play the game on YouTube. That's how I originally saw it. So the comparison may not even be the same as playing it, but I would imagine it's kind of similar because there's a similar level of a similar level of pacing in terms of watching things play out. Which the anime, I feel, has a different pacing. It felt quicker, but I don't know if that's just me feeling like, well, having a vague idea of what happened and saying, okay, well, obviously they're going to have to figure this out next. Hard to say. Not necessarily... So yeah, I don't know. I thought it was enjoyable to rewatch, a good revisit, not as memorable as the game. I think maybe, I commented this before, but the games probably had stronger music, more impactful. Good stuff. And, you know, I enjoyed watching the anime. I don't know if they made a Season 3 for the stuff after Trials and Tribulations, but since I've never seen those, I would watch an anime version of it. I just don't know how I'd prioritize it and if I'd ever get around to it. So the other thing I watched anime-wise is the first disc, which is like the first 8 or 9 episodes of Restaurant to Another World, which I kind of speculated was maybe isekai. It kind of is, but it also kind of isn't. The basic premise is you have a Western-style Japanese restaurant, or Western cuisine-style Japanese restaurant, and once a week its door connects to another world, a medieval fantasy world, and it's a magical connection with multiple doors leading into the restaurant. And, you know, people, it's basically a show about people coming in and enjoying food that's probably, because of the infrastructure involved, society, civilization-wise, is just generally higher quality than a lot of stuff they get to normally eat. You know, cheaper access to a whole lot of stuff. I mean, at some point in the past, salt was a valuable commodity. Nowadays, we just don't think much about it. And some people still make a lot of money off of salt because, we need salt in many forms, even if we don't really think about it. But, that's a really basic way to store food or preserve food, rather, and it adds a taste that we really like to a lot of food, and et cetera, et cetera. And it's, relatively plentiful here, and maybe that means that historically it wasn't. I wouldn't be surprised if there's some misnomers there on my part, maybe on the parts of people that express it, maybe just generally culturally, but it pretty much means I don't know, that's just a basic thought. But then there's all this other stuff where it's like, we all have too much sugar in our lives. Sugar is easy to get, it's plentiful, we have a lot of access to stuff, and we can easily take for granted what a restaurant has or something like that. But that's all a bunch of philosophical thoughts. The show doesn't actually question it too much. It just presents, this is not stuff that you normally see medieval people getting to eat. These are things that are, I think, definitely more of a Japanese way of enjoying a lot of these Western dishes. And in this case, I guess the anime actually opens up explaining that Western really means anything west of the ocean, which if you look at a map, is pretty much the entirety of the world. So it's pretty much anything non-Japanese, which is why there's dishes in there that I would consider more staples of Japanese cuisine based on my own exposure to only seeing them in anime, even though I know that they probably hail from other cultures or something like that. And I'm not going to think about that stuff too much. It's just, the food looks really tasty. It's really neat to watch. It's a kind of pleasant show. It's not really, that's why I don't call it isekai, because in a way it kind of is about these medieval fantasy characters getting to experience this. But it's really not about them discovering our world. Just, it's more of an excuse for, here they go, they get to enjoy this food. And, in that regard, I could also see people not enjoying the show, because it means that it pretty much has no conflict. And I'd say pretty much because it's not necessarily not there, it's just that the little bits and pieces of it are not really drivers, I guess, of stuff. They don't, everything is a vessel for, this character is going to eat this dish, pretty much. Except for the first episode, which sets up the basic premise, and this character is going to be working for the main character. But even then, they set up the possibility for conflict in that she may have it, but then we don't get to see it or experience it. It's not really important. I think maybe a good summary example would be the lion tar. Or was that a Lionel? I don't remember what they said he was, but it's a man-lion thing. Brushing over a lot of his history, he discovered the door that appears only once every 7 days. It basically inside the areas in a gladiatorial arena he was being forced to enter. And, he wandered in and, accepted the fact that maybe he was going to die, but he was going to fight, and he ended up enjoying a Japanese pork cutlet and, just enjoying it, having a couple of bowls, and then his food, I don't know, I think that they did payments like on his tab or something like that. And then he goes back out, and because, he's had a fresh meal or something like that, he's going to win at the Coliseum and be able to keep coming back in the future. And to a degree, you kind of know that's going to happen, and you don't really feel like the cuisine is necessarily the reason why, so much as it's an excuse why, to have him be hungry before he goes in and get a excellent meal and then go out and stuff like that. But, again, you're probably watching this show because you kind of enjoy the feel-goodness and the deliciousness of the food, and you vicariously appreciate watching it because you like the fact that the characters enjoy the food that they get to eat. And there's other stuff that's been potentially more, oh, this could be some interesting conflict, but they don't really explore it. They explore certain side stories sort of kind of related to this stuff, which is really just more of an excuse of, oh, these people are enjoying food. So, you know, I think that gives a good idea of the show. You know, definitely not, I don't think you necessarily watch it because it's isekai, and maybe that's fine. Anyways, beyond that, I've been really just, let's see, I did watch some more Static Shock, which included, well, I don't remember that character's name, but that was supposed to be another deep episode about helping the homeless, but I couldn't help but wonder if it felt a little off. I guess some of that comes from my own experience with seeing the homeless around here in the Austin area, and maybe it means there's different homeless demographics in different places, and the truth of the matter is, you know, as much as people argue back and forth, there does remain a fact, there is a subset of the homeless population who are definitely, okay, these are people we can and should try to help, and then there's another subset that you should help, but helping in the way you would think you would help doesn't necessarily help. Like if you give a beggar on the side of the road a $20 bill, if he just uses it to continue a drug addiction and continue being homeless, I don't think you're really necessarily helping him get out of that. And it can be tricky because at the same time you can know that and be okay with that, but you have to be careful about making sure you're not deluding yourself. And then what if you do run into a guy who really just needs $5 for that bus ride? Chances are, you know, all the people asking for it don't need it. They would have different ways to try to ask, maybe, I don't know. But, you know, sometimes people intentionally or otherwise take advantage of the fact that, you know, people want to help other people, and it gives some people a chance to just leave themselves in a state where they're not getting any better. And some people, even if they wanted to get better, couldn't get better, maybe because they have mental illnesses or something like that. And that's a tricky thing, and it kind of felt like, as deep as Static Shock was trying to be with that homeless episode, you know, it kind of painted a black and white, oh, they're always like this sort of thing. Not necessarily a problem, but it is one of those thoughts where, okay, when the show tried to be deep, how deep did it get? And it's hard to say for certain, because some of my interpretations and thoughts on this stuff are going to be biased by my own, you know, interpretations and thoughts on this stuff, by definition. So, it's strange. But yeah, outside of that, I'm trying to make progress on creating some VR chat avatars, but I was mostly focused this weekend on pretty much the past 2 days, because my parents recently had their birthdays, and they finally gave a date for, oh yes, we're going to try and eat a birthday dinner on this date. I'm like, yeah, I'll make it happen. But that was the same day I was also going to do laundry, and at the same time, because I'm getting close to my end of the year PTO, I want to make sure, you know, I want to share some of what I'm known for from my coworkers to my coworkers, which means baking pumpkin pie for them. You know, I only do it around this time of year, and it seemed to me that this week is a really good week to bring some, because people aren't quite going on Thanksgiving PTO yet. Next week is a good week because it's also Thanksgiving week and a good excuse to just have pumpkin pie. And then the week after, I might try and do as well. So basically, I'm going to try and bring pumpkin pie in 3 Mondays here, and then I'm on PTO. And I just had to juggle that stuff, and it's good because baking pumpkin pie for them kind of makes sure I de-rust my skills, and if I do mess up a recipe, then it's them who would be going out without pumpkin pie, and not myself and whatever family shows up for Thanksgiving itself. But I say that, and I've never messed up a pumpkin pie, period. You know, when you kind of know what you're looking for, you can get ones that are kind of a little less there. And I know I have the video of the pumpkin pie, and there's some people that say you shouldn't mix it this way, and for whatever reason, me mixing it the way I do seems to work out. And when people say I'm an expert at it at work or something like that, you know, some of that just comes from giving good praise for good tasting food, right? But I think what most of that comes down to is I've worked around my own quirks with the way I do stuff, such that I get the ingredients well mixed, so you have a really good consistent flavor or something like that. And then I just always know, yeah, even though I've tried some of the pumpkin pie after the 2-hour cooling period, it was okay. You know, actually pretty good, better than the couple-day-old version. But the best is always you let it cool and then you put it in the fridge, and then the next day when it's nice and cold, you put that Cool Whip on it, and then, ooh, it's great. But, you know, I wouldn't call that a whole lot of experience, just more like I went into it with a really good starting point. Something else must have given me some good insight into things. And maybe it helped that my mom, you know, she used to make the pumpkin pie, and I took over that responsibility. I took over responsibility for pumpkin pie and mashed potatoes because the preparation for those were special, and they were some of my favorite dishes. And you need that turkey and biscuits. Yeah, biscuits are fine. We have, our family has our preferred biscuits. It's not cornbread. So I'm going to do all that for Thanksgiving. I don't remember if I've ever recorded a video for Thanksgiving meals. I should probably take a look, and if I haven't, maybe I'll try and get one, because with all this dearth of anime releases coming out on time and stuff, and it's all over the place, you know, that might be an interesting thing to watch. But I've also not uploaded all the cooking stuff. Like, I didn't upload making of the... I mean, I uploaded it to YouTube, but it's an unlisted video of making chocolate covered strawberries. I didn't do anything for popcorn balls. So yeah, think about it. But the truth of the matter is, as much as I think about doing stuff, my priority is still finishing that Avatar. And then finishing that Avatar, and then finishing that Avatar. Because basically, Christmas is just around the corner. One of the Avatars requires a little finesse and detail work, and this isn't like intricate detail, this is just like putting a bunch of little things on an Avatar just to make it work out. And then playing around with this one other little thing afterwards, which shouldn't take too long, but you know, that shouldn't take too long to add up. Anyways, it's all a bunch of stuff. It's fun. But I'm definitely, you know, getting tired. And tomorrow should be interesting because I guess Trump's going to be in town. And my big issue with that is that the last time a president of the United States came into Austin, I was aware of it and I was out and about, all of traffic completely stopped, which is really annoying. I kind of understand why they're doing it, but I guess to me it's just kind of an extension of this idea we have where we put so much emphasis on, oh, the President of the United States is the most important position, and it's probably the most powerful position, but it's not the leader of the nation position per se, other than the fact that people thinking it does kind of makes it so. It had some very clearly delineated powers which didn't give it final say in everything, but people act like it does and pretends like that means it's king, and then they put more emotional investment in, blah blah blah, and it's more energy than I can deal with. And you know, that's just a long roundabout way of saying I'm not looking forward to seeing what happens to traffic tomorrow. I'm just hoping I get into work before it gets bad and I get home from work after it's finished. And also worried because it sounds like people here are going to protest, and people here are kind of idiots. Like, when he won the election, despite the fact that Austin is a mostly liberal city, thanks to it being a college town mostly, I guess, also tech industry stuff, you had fucking retards taking to the street protesting the fact that he won. Not anything he had actually done yet, but just letting the world know, oh, I'm fucking angry that this person I didn't want voted into president won, and they completely shut down traffic.
I certainly hope they don't do it again. Probably won't be the same people, just another group of naive idiots who think that doing that makes people warm up to their position, when, if anything, this makes me kind of turn against their position. I don't know. I should stop talking politics because this is all tiring, and obviously I'm tired. And I should try and get a nap in before my brother and his friends arrive. So I'll go ahead and wrap up this video. Y'all, have a nice week.